Adam is a history professor, bored with his life. When he watches a rented movie, he discovers he has a double.
Maybe we're brothers. We're not brothers. We're not brothers.
When he decides to find him, he turns his entire world upside down in Enemy.
Hi, I'm Aaron, and I'm here with Zorianna and Kevin, and today we're here to talk about Enemy, the new film from director Denis Villeneuve, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Jake Gyllenhaal. We've all just seen it. Kevin, what'd you think?
I liked this movie, albeit it's esoteric, confusing. Not a lot of people will probably like it, but I found it really compelling, so I'm kind of on board.
You enjoyed the challenge of trying to figure out
I
the
love
pieces?
movies where I have to figure them out.
I do too. For the most part, unless it's so hard to figure out. But this one...
Or if it's super pretentious, then I'm like, ugh.
You're looking at these two different versions of this person played by Jake Gyllenhaal, and you're like, are they twins? Is there a double? Were they separated by birth? I mean, but you never really sort of figure it out.
Right, and that's my biggest problem with the movie. It is trying to make you figure it out the whole movie, and it does a great job in doing so. There are hints peppered all throughout the film, and then, you know, looking back on the film and having read the press notes.
You shouldn't rely on press notes to tell you
well, that's
how to figure out a movie.
Central problem with the film, but then you can look back on films in the past that have been misunderstood and then are, you know, heralded in some way.
Like what?
Well, like Donnie Darko, for example. It reminds me a lot, you know, there's no clear-cut ending in terms of like the director saying, here's how it ends. But that's the problem I'm struggling with is it okay to give, you know, to say that everyone should see this movie even though it's a little confusing? And I think that the movie has to take accountability.
Hello?
Good afternoon.
Hey.
No, I'm calling to speak to
Where are you calling from?
I'm sorry, I think there's been a
Who
misunderstanding.
is this?
Okay, I'll call back later.
Jake Gyllenhaal is really good in this film. He's playing two different characters, identities, or the same person is split in two, whatever, you know, it may be. But he has established two distinct personalities for the two different Jake Gyllenhaals.
Yeah.
Even the way he walks.
Yes.
Even,
It's everything. It's posture, it's dialogue delivery. I mean, he's made such believable characters, and he's the same guy creating two completely different characters that have to interact with one another, and that is amazing.
And this is essentially a showpiece for Jake Gyllenhaal. He's done good work. He's done a lot of different genres. Say what you want about, you know, the different movies. Maybe Prince of Persia wasn't that great, but Brokeback Mountain earned him an Oscar nomination.
I liked Prince of Persia. It was fun.
He's all over the place.
Out of the supporting cast, I really like Sarah Gadon, who plays one of the Jake Gyllenhaal's
One of the women's
wives. She's pregnant, and she doesn't say a lot, but there's just something about her presence and the way she expresses herself in her face.
She's very expressive.
I was fascinated by her.
There's something both sympathetic yet slightly
Disconcerting?
yes, like a evil undertone. She is deeply layered without really saying anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was what I found fascinating, because for a while I'm like, is she ever going to really do much?
anything?
But then I just found myself completely drawn to her.
I went to see that guy.
Who? What are you talking about?
The guy on the phone. I went to his work.
As a director, Denis uses misdirection, plants, and payoffs so well, so specifically, and in ways that you almost don't notice unless you're looking for it. But then when you have this ending that feels so unsubstantiated, it's almost like all that stuff was for nothing.
You keep looking back and you're like, well, why
Why
the
did he
talk
show
about
me
the
this?
blueberries?
Right.
Or why the talk about this? Or why? And then you're just scratching your head.
But at the same time, I feel like when you do find out what it really all meant,
It makes sense.
I think people who like David Lynch are going to like it. I do feel maybe David Lynch gives you a little bit more at the end of his films.
I was actually going to compare it more to Cronenberg. I thought
I
that
think
was
it's
very
both, yeah.
Cronenbergian
For sure.
in a lot of places.
Yeah, because you know those types of movies, you sit there through the whole thing going, I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah,
But at the
exactly.
end, they do give you a little bit more, and here they don't, and you kind of walk away going,
Everything just blows up in your face at the end, and I just don't understand what the big blow up is.
The blow up at the end does work once you have all of the information needed to understand the entire film. The problem is you can only attain that information by watching it twice. And does a movie really get a pass to see a movie, to have it be seen twice?
Well, you only get one chance to make a first impression.
This isn't a movie for everyone, but people who like complex puzzler movies will have a lot to chew on. I personally really liked it, but I'm just gonna give it a stream it.
This movie's confusing, fascinating, but ultimately unsatisfying. Stream it.
Despite the confusion that I felt before, during, and after watching Enemy, it's a fascinating film and I'm gonna be talking about it for years, so I say see it.
Our votes add up to 2 full tickets, which is a stream it for Enemy. Cheers.
Cheers.
What a tangled web we weave. Spider!